Hey there, dreamers. This is Jade, and it is time for my flip for the month of September. I didn't do a lot of pages this month because it was crazy. Florence came through, and I wasn't feeling very well. I was kind of uninspired this past month, but I'm feeling a lot better now. Florence is gone, thank God. And so hopefully I'll be able to complete more journal pages this month. Anyway, we left off here at Papillon. Little tip, guys: do not Mod Podge tickets. I put Mod Podge hoping it would preserve the writing on my ticket here, and I'm so upset that it is practically gone. It's practically faded. Whereas a ticket I put in and didn't do anything to back here, maybe I sprayed it with something instead of Mod Podging, is still perfect. So do not Mod Podge your ticket stubs. Anyway, so first day, September 1st, of course, I did my monthly bookshelf. So, to put what I've read the previous month down to have a little record of it. September 3rd, Nike released their 30th anniversary campaign, which I thought was freaking awesome. And when I saw the actual commercial that went with the campaign, I was like in tears. It was so inspiring. And I also love that they used, first of all, Colin Kaepernick's message. Love it. And then they also used Serena Williams. They used Odell Beckham. And this one other football player. I'm not really into football, so I don't know this guy's name. But he's a football player, but he's handicapped. He has like one hand. His other hand is not fully formed. So, but he's like he's a phenomenal football player. So I just thought it was really inspiring, and I just kind of wanted to mark that day. And the next day was just a good day overall. Everything was coming up Jade. I went to Urban Outfitters to get my clear cassette tape, pulled my cassettes out, and I have been jamming ever since. I stopped by the movie theaters. They're like right beside each other. Stopped by the movie theater to pick up my Papillon poster that the manager said I could have. But they said to come back at 4 because that's when they change out the posters. So I went back home to wait because I didn't want to be spending like an extra 2-3 hours at the mall waiting. So I went back home and I was getting out of the car and I saw the rose had bloomed really pretty. And it was you can hardly see it in this picture, but it was like a combination pink, peachy color. It was really pretty, so I took a picture of it. And then I went back, I got my poster, and this is an actual picture of the actual poster that I got. And while I was on my way back, I stopped by the Dollar Tree. I forget what I was going into Dollar Tree for. However, while I was in there, I found 2 pennies. Guys, do not ignore the pennies or dimes on the floor. Pick them up. Thank the universe for them because, you know, it's a sign. So, be grateful for any abundance or extra added to you, even if it's just a penny. So, that was it for that day. It was just a good day overall. I had fun. I was in a good mood. It was just nice. So, that was September 6th, and you know how I get out of order sometimes. So September 4th, The Mayans premiered, which is a spin-off show of this show, Sons of Anarchy, which I binged maybe about a year or 2 ago, which was how I discovered the actor Charlie Hunnam, whom I love. I think he's freaking brilliant. So I'm a big fan of Sons of Anarchy. It has become one of my go-to shows and or movies. So like at the end of the night when I'm ready to wind down and just want something playing in the background that entertains me, but I don't necessarily have to pay attention to because I've already seen the story, I'll put on one of my go-tos. So either like Sons of Anarchy, On My Block. If you have not seen that show on Netflix, watch it. It is hilarious. Supernatural, y'all know I love me some Supernatural. Black Panther, King Arthur, Legend of the Sword. These are like my go-to shows and movies. Avengers, that type of thing. So anyway, The Mayans is about the Mayans motorcycle club from Sons of Anarchy. And the main character, instead of being an actual member at the moment, he's a prospect, meaning that he is kind of being, I guess, jumped or not jumped, but like hazed into the club. There, he's on a trial period to see if he's actually gonna make it into the club. His name is Ezekiel Reyes. They call him Easy. He's cute. He's that little kid, not little kid because he's grown. He's grown. He's not a little kid. Hasn't been for some time, I'm sure. But he's that kid from the Twilight series. He had a small part in Breaking Dawn at the very end when Alice and Jasper comes back with the proof that the kids like Bella and Edwards, I can't remember the name of them, that child that they named some ridiculous name, like her, aren't dangerous. They came back with this fella and his aunt or something. Anyway, that's who it is. That's who plays Easy, except he's like got beard and everything now. His arms are ridiculously big, and it just, oh, he's beautiful. Anyway, the story so far, I think I've watched about 4 or 5 episodes, and leading up to it, it's been kind of just okay. But this last episode was really interesting, so I'm hoping it's finally starting to pick up speed. So I will keep monitoring the Mayans to see if I like it or if I'm going to end up giving it up. But so far, so good, you know. Next, Bobby Brown. I watched the Bobby Brown story. It came on. It was a 2-part series. And it actually premiered the same night as the Mayans. So I had to kind of juggle my times there. But watched the Mayans. And then I watched the Bobby Brown story because it was a 2-night event. And the next day as well. And here it's the first, to me, successful time I actually use a stencil in my journal here. I used the Brick Tim Holtz stencil that I got, and I kind of wanted to give it a bit of a gritty look because Bobby Brown is a little more on the gritty side of New Edition or whatever. And I just put, I don't need permission, make my own decisions, that's my prerogative. Quick little story. When I was 9, I got this tape for a birthday gift. My dad had a triple deck cassette player and I wanted one. And so my mom and my dad got me a triple deck player and they got me this cassette, the Don't Be Cruel album. Y'all, I played that thing out, and then one day my older cousin wanted to borrow it, so I let her borrow it. Do you know I never got it back, and she tried to replace it, and she said she lost it, but she replaced it with that single from I forget the name of the group, but it used to go back to life, back to reality. Yeah, I was a little upset about that because how you replace a whole album with a single? I was like, really? Is this what we doing? But anyway, so yeah, Bobby Brown story was great. The first movie was great. It brought back all of the nostalgia from when I was a kid, all of the songs, and I do have it on CD now, and on my iTunes or whatever. It was just good, and I learned a lot of things that I didn't know, and a lot of things that I had heard rumors about was confirmed. And I would just say that in conclusion, for me, I feel like Bobby Brown was not the devil or the demon that the media and everybody tried to portray him as, and Whitney Houston wasn't the angel that the media and everybody tried to portray her as, and together they just, to me, they brought out the worst in each other rather than the best. If that makes sense? It was not a good combination, that thing. So, but I'm glad that he's got his life together now and he's doing well. Which leads me to my last page. This happened on September 5th as well. So while I was watching the second part of Bobby Brown, I was also watching videos on YouTube, and I happened to be watching Amity Bloom, and she was saying how she has this little die cut. She was doing like something in her a bujo or something. She has this little die cut. It's a bird die cut that she moves from journal to journal, and she calls it Bodhi. And she was saying how, you know, she talked to her parents and everybody about this name, and people around her like, no, that name is ridiculous or whatever, like. And at the time she was saying this, I was thinking in my head, yeah, who would name their child Bodhi? Like, this is what I'm thinking in my head. who would name their child Bodhi? Now, to preface this, the night before I had watched this video that said, you're going to get a sign from the universe within 24 hours and you're going to know that this is the sign for you. And I feel like on the last few months I've been kind of going through like a little bit of a spiritual awakening. And I actually feel like I've probably been going through it for years now, and I'm just now actually paying attention. So I was like, okay, and it was close to the time that 24 hours was coming, and I hadn't seen anything or felt like I had gotten any kind of sign. So anyway, she's talking about this little bird called Bodhi, and in my head, I'm like, who would name their kid Bodhi? Like, why? That is a weird name. That's what I'm thinking in my head. As soon as I have that thought, I hear on the TV, Bobby Brown's last wife, the woman he's with now, is pregnant. She's like, he said something or whatever, and she says something about, well, little Bodhi doesn't, she refers to the baby in her belly as Bodhi. And I'm like, am I tripping? Did I really hear that? Because, you know, I got two things going at once. So maybe I'm like, okay, maybe I didn't hear what I thought I did. So I went to Google, looked it up. I was like, Googled the names of Bobby Brown's kids. And sure enough, he has a child named Bodhi. And I was like, that is not a coincidence. That is crazy. So I was like, okay, let me see what Bodhi actually means. Like, what does this mean? And I found out that Bodhi is Sanskrit, and in Buddhism, it is traditionally translated as enlightenment, although its literal meaning is closer to awakening. And, you know, it has a little more information about it, but you can Google it. But I just thought that was so cool. So, yeah, I got my sign, and it was within 24 hours. It was close to the wire, but it came within 24 hours. And, so here I just drew like the lotus flower that's kind of representative of Buddhism, and a little Buddha here and Bodhi, and kind of like the, you know, just the, what do you call it, definition I looked up and saw what it meant. Anyway, I just thought that was a cool little story and a cool little happening. So if you guys have any comments or questions, you can definitely leave them below, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. I appreciate all the love and support from you all. Have a wonderful rest of the week, and I will catch you in the next video. P.S. I'm still going to do the Game of Thrones thing. I just can't decide how I want to do it. I'm leaning towards journaling. It's just that I ramble so much, and I'm trying to keep it contained to like 15 or 20 minutes, and it's so hard. So hopefully that's going to be coming soon once I get it figured out, guys. So I will see you in the next one. Have a good one. Bye.